This is the first time in the history of the college football playoff rankings that date back to 2014 that Alabama and Clemson are not among our top 6 teams in any of the rankings. Really interesting stuff. As you can see here on the screen, number 1, Georgia. We always knew it was going to be Georgia after the way they dismantled Tennessee. It's really a question of just how much room is between Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU as we continue to play out games. It feels like all Georgia has to do is make it to the SEC championship game, and they are going to have a spot in the college football playoff. Just a matter of what the seeding is going to look like. We saw what outstanding offense looks like from Tennessee, and then Georgia showed us that you still need defense to win championships, and that's why they are the defending champs looking to repeat. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Michigan. I think we got to go with saying, hey, the game on November 26th is going to be beautiful. Now, I have also had Ohio State and Michigan at number 3. As a matter of fact, you might look at the top 4 and say, yo, RJ, you had this too. Well, it wasn't really rocket science this year because we understand that Ohio State is a good football program. They're putting up at least 20 points in every game they have played for the last 70 games that they have played. And even when it doesn't feel like it's going well for them offensively, the defense has proven to be very stout. They're giving up just under 16 points per game in Jim Knowles' first year. It's about, can you run the football if you're Ohio State? And that was something that proved difficult for them against Northwestern last week. What is it going to look like as we get closer and closer to them having to play what is a really balanced Michigan Wolverines football team? They run the ball really well with Blake Corum at tailback. Donovan Edwards comes in there as an explosive threat. J.J. McCarthy gives them an ability to throw the ball down the field and to move around the pocket when things break down. And then, quiet as it's kept, Jesse Minter is having an outstanding defensive first year at Michigan, too, with guys like Yabe Oki and Mike Morris holding down what we thought was going to be a defensive line that's going to go through a lot of change because they lost the first-round draft pick in Aiden Hutchinson. They lost a great talent in David Ajabo. And now we're talking about, yeah, they can absolutely put the clamps down on somebody they want to. And Michigan has proven to be quite the second-half football team of late. As a matter of fact, they have outscored their opponents 100-3 since like October. It's been wild to see, but we're also looking at the team that doesn't necessarily start fast, and neither does Ohio State, right? You go down 17-14 at Rutgers. We're going to remember 17-14 Rutgers, even if you end up winning that game 52-17. Same thing can be said about Ohio State, who went down 7-0 for way too long against Northwestern. But either way, it feels like the winner of that game not just plays in the Big Ten championship, but is probably the presumptive favorite to win the Big Ten title. In that way, we know that we're going to get a college football playoff selection from the Big Ten and the SEC, which leads me to number 4, Texas Christian, who is undefeated with a bevy of ranked wins in a loaded Big 12. It is the toughest Big 12 that I can remember because 1 through 10, it's just stout. Even Iowa State is good, even if their record does not reflect that. And it would be very Texas Christian to go to Austin to beat a ranked Texas team and then somehow get past Baylor only to lose to Iowa State, a la 2011 Oklahoma State. All they had to do after beating Oklahoma in Bedlam was win against Iowa State, and they're going to play in the BCS National Championship game, and they came up short. So there is a lot of pressure on TCU to go perfect in this space because, frankly, we just don't give that much credence to the Big 12, and that's partly Oklahoma's fault. You keep putting them in that dunker spot at number 4, and they keep getting dunked on, to which I've asked the question. I would be curious to hear your answer on the tweets or in the YouTube comments or wherever it is you can get at us on the number 1 college football show. Are you interested in seeing Georgia play Texas Christian at number 4, or dare I say it, number 5, number 6, Tennessee or Oregon? Because that's what it feels like we're heading toward. We might get a rematch of Tennessee versus Georgia, depending on how these conference championships play out, how many 1-loss teams we have, how many 2-loss teams we have holding conference championships. But Tennessee is very much in it. You're not out, which is another way of saying you're in at a time when Alabama is out. Think about that. We've never been able to say that, not just in the college football playoff rankings, but basically since Nick Saban became head coach at Alabama, it's not just been Alabama on top. It's that Tennessee hasn't been good at all. And now we're really looking at Tennessee as being one of the 4 best teams in college football. If TCU or Michigan or Ohio State slips, it's like that. Good on you, Tennessee. Continue to fight, continue to play hard, see where you end up come Election Sunday. And then number 6, Oregon. A 1-loss Pac-12 champion probably doesn't get in if we're keeping this chalk, as you can see with that number 6 ranking. But I also think this is interesting in that Oregon needs USC to remain undefeated till they got to play in the Pac-12 championship game, and then you got to beat USC. You are huge USC fans if you are Oregon Ducks, because that strengthens your resume, and it's really difficult for us to forget that you got beat by 46 in Atlanta by the defending national champs, especially as Oregon is averaging 43 points per game this season, and that's with only scoring 3 against Georgia. But again, it ain't about can you score. It's about can you stop people from scoring. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.